Thanks for joining me. This video is me running through the tea plates that I've got done and trimming them. This one I'm just going to show you, and then the next one I talk through it. So just have a look, see what I'm doing, and then that'll hopefully help you. There's been quite a few discussions over the few videos that I've done with regards to whether silence is better, music is better, talking over it is better. I'm still trying to find that happy medium. So I would appreciate in the comments box if while you're watching this, whether you actually tell me what you prefer. I do agree that if you get music that's blaring out and it's too loud and whatever, it's annoying. You can always turn the music down, but, I do get that, because then you've got the problem that I'm usually had some music and then I'm talking to explain something. So, just give me a heads up in the comments box, please, if you will. And again, as usual, if you like what I do, then please subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, and then click that bell, and the bell will tell you when I'm putting up a new video. Also, the other thing that has cropped up a lot is people saying that they don't like videos being fast forwarded. They want to see things in actual time, which of course, as you and I know, this is an hour's worth of work, and I don't suppose everybody wants to see or watch every one being run in the full time. I think, like anything as well, when you're doing this section for the first time, this first piece, you're trying to find out what you want to do to match on the other 8 pieces. And you can see here that when you, with Lava Fleck, you do any cutting and trimming, depending on how dry the plate is, you can get some good chunks out of the clay, and then we want to wet it back up and smooth it all out again. This technique here, the next one I'm going to do with using the ball to put like an impression across the base, and then make a sort of a thicker round edge, which means that the bases of the plates have got something to look at, has worked really well. It means that I haven't taken away any of the thickness of the base, and I can then hopefully not get any warping. And as you're probably aware, I've now took them out of the kiln. And I didn't get any warping on the majority of the plates. I'd say there's just a couple that I do see. And I wonder if that's because when I was doing this part, I actually had put quite a lot of pressure on some of them, and we had a bit of an indent at this point. When I turned them over, I had to then press the clay back. But as clay has a memory, and as soon as you start pushing the clay back into shapes that it wasn't the first time, it'll spring back to where it was. So there you go. Right, since I put up my video the other day for the little tea plates that I've done, somebody's asking me about trimming them. But the main point for me was this warping issue that I discussed, that I don't want them to warp. So I sort of devised, this one's much squarer than that last one, interestingly enough. So that is going to be a bit more of a problem. And that's what I think I started to do, make them more squarer as they went on. But what I've done is I've got a sort of bowed, curved end, this end here. I will take this a bit more because everything's been made to have a bit of a bow. Yeah, and even though what I might do is just take that off there. Okay, so that's made that bowed, as you can see. Let me get rid of all of these bits before I then wet anything. Yeah, so those first plates I made, if any of you watched the previous videos, were actually all trimmed out underneath. And, you know, as you're learning, we're told a lot about how memory of the clay. So because I made these thinner, if you remember, I went down with the rolling pin. These were a really nice thickness. They don't need trimming. So before I to do what I'm doing, I do have to wet this up a bit. These have only just come off the bat. But what I want to do is just make sure that outside, using one of the soft red ribs, is all rounded and there's no holes in the clay because it's so heavily grogged. Oh, let's do that back in the middle. Okay, now I can do that back up. I'll just check that in a minute when we go. And then because I want to put that indentation in the bottom of this, I've just softened the clay underneath, because when I did the big plates, I got them a little bit too dry. And it was quite hard to put pressure on and get the markings. So I'm just basically finding my centre and going to start working out as there we go, soft enough that I can put an indent in this part of the clay, but not so soft I'm putting pressure on and then when I feel I've gone out far enough, just put pressure on this bit. Now, because I want to make sure it sits properly, what I've done then is I've got a little flat brush, and I'm just going to make sure that this part of it sits flat, and put again a little bit more pressure on just to make it look nice. And that's the tray trim, that's the plate trimmed. Just check the other side, just check the top as it's been. There you go. I think that works well. So I'll just crack on with the rest. You probably heard I was listening to Fleetwood Mac yesterday doing the other bits, but today I've got myself into a series, a audible book series called Harley Merlin. It's quite like the Harry Potter series, but it's about 16 books. I'm on book 9 now, and really enjoying them. So yeah, I'm going to put you on slightly faster because I'm going to do all 8 of these. And then I've got a big oven dish that I've done that I'll show you as well. So I will pause this now, put my Audible book back on, and yeah, speak to you in a bit. Alexa, play. For those of you who haven't seen this device that I'm working on, it's called a Griffin Grip. And basically, you buy it and then you adjust the underneath so it sits on your exact wheel. And when you need to centre a piece of work to trim, you just basically sit it on and you draw those 3 parts in to hold the piece of work in centre. You also get arms with them, so you can do jars and things or awkward shapes. But it is very, very useful. I wouldn't be without it. I think, though, sometimes it makes you forget to go and use the old-fashioned way where you're on the wheel with the pieces of clay holding your pot in place, and you can't ever forget to do that because, you need different bits of kit for different jobs in pottery. Okay, so I just picked this one up, and I knew I'd done this. I've actually, if you have a look, I've actually gouged in there when I've put in the metal rib. Now, what I'm tempted to do there is fill it before I trim it, actually. So I'm going to wet it up. I'm going to wet it up, and I'm going to go and get some lava fleck clay. And just there's a bit on the other side as well. I was a bit rougher with this one, I think. Right. Let's see how we can make that one. Really great news. I've just had a commission that asked to do another water feature, but actually there's a commission this time. So that is really exciting. The same idea as I did for myself. I'll do this really gently now. Same idea that I did for myself. These have ended up quite square on the outside, some of these. I just want to, and dry, because they've been sitting in, I've had them boxed up in a Tupperware container today. Just realised I've got another light here that helps. There we go. Right, do it again. Screw it up. Wet it down. The other one was difficult. The other one, the last one, was a bit too dry to do this to. But I know these are all softer. I've got no more space in here when I'm doing a dinner service, waiting for things to dry, and I'd actually put one of the pieces on a bat underneath the kiln. I forgot about it. Guess what? A little bit dry when I found it. Right. It's still a bit dry, this one. There you are. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm sure you're like me. Where's lose my sponge? Oh well, I'll just use this one for a minute. Oh, it's in the water. It's in the water. Okay, so this is just to show you an oven dish that I made. The plan was to put it up on mine actually, but the plan was to make it into a square one where you cut out a D and you square it up. But I just didn't know what stage to do it, and I quite liked it as it was. So we ended up 11.5 inches, sort of 20, well 30, it is actually just under the 30 centimetres. So that's nice to see. It's quite nicely finished, and it's not too thick, but it's thick enough. So underneath we have the same thing that I want to do. I've already sort of carved a bit of the shape out to give me a bit of a so there we go, that's on tight. So we're gonna what I should have seen before I did that is how much I've got in the corners to trim away. Yeah, I can cut an angle away. There is some there, so that's fine. Okay, so I do like when you have a piece where you are actually just using the bat and you are waiting for it to just lift off the bat, but you've got to just make sure the sidewalls and the sidewalls and the base doesn't dry out too quickly, obviously, because you really are looking for again, as we said, no cracking on the bottom and no warping, so that's looking better already. And even though it's quite dry, as you can see with what I did with the other pieces, once you've put more moisture back on your piece and let it soak in, and at this state of play it just goes straight back to it's nice. I'm enjoying this project. I'm happier that I'm doing the plates this way so that I'm believing they will go through the kiln all right without warping. What I would say is it's knowing how to fire them. I think I'm just gonna put more shelves in and not have to worry about standing them on their edges because I've not done enough of them. If that makes sense. Clear that off. when you have a Griffin grip, you have nowhere with this Shimpo Whisper, you have nowhere for the bits to go. And I have made sort of a bit of a cardboard structure to catch the bits, but it makes so much noise, do, 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 as it goes round. Okay, so same process as before. Wet it up with the bigger sponge. Let it have enough time for the slit that is formed to go in any of the little holes and the little bits that sort of end up happening when you are sort of doing that to quite dry clay. Quite a lot of pressure, so it's almost like burnishing the outside. That's all right. Yeah, that's good. You happy with that? Let's keep going a bit. Again, it just sort of compresses. And then let's soften up this base. Let that soak in for a minute. And just gently get rid of that spare slit that's there. Without going into the middle, like you know that I do. All that's doing is actually push the water in. There's nothing on the back of there. Then get the. Now, do I go slightly up a ball size? Just go up a ball size. Though to be fair, that's only slightly bigger than what I'm using. Right, let's get it going a bit fast enough that I can. I'm having to put a fair amount of pressure. Feel where it's dry out. Oh. There you go, we got across there right though. Quite a lot of bits just to clean off when we've done that. And then get rid of everything so we've got a flat end. And then just put pressure down again. Yeah, that's really good. I think when I work, always strive to get the best result I can. I see imperfection easily, that's my problem. There you go, that's that done then. Let's have another look. And it's, let's just drop the camera back. Oh, she says, hold on. So just sort of to show you how exact that oh, my camera's tilted. Just to show you how pleased I am with those, how exact they came out. There's the I'm going to take them off as they are, so they dry a bit slower. They need now some cling film putting in sort of the bottom, so that this is all sort of done a little bit slower. I've still got 4 little bowls for the table to do. Let me just sit this back here and show you this piece. There we go. So, oh, I'm a bit, looks like my camera's a bit at a funny angle. Very pleased with that. So I hope that helps some of you with that idea, instead of trimming big, you know, doing the big rims and things like that. I think that will work. We will see, won't we? My next plan is get these dry. I might have to do 2 firings because there's a lot of bisque here. And then, as I have said, I've got a number of little pots that I've done in the same clay, that when they are fired, I can then do some tests. So I would really, really appreciate anybody coming forward with some of their ideas. I like the blues. Leah and Cameron actually like the green colours, but the paler colour. So I've seen one that I like that was actually iron luster, iron luster with toasted sage over the top. So I'm going to do some tests of that and play. I bought toasted sage to test it with a few different colours and see. And then I did see one that they'd added a bit more blue as the run, so that it was textured turquoise inside. But they'd done something along here to add a little bit more colour variant. So we've got loads of those made. Get them all in the kiln, get all these bits dry. And then we will start doing some testing. Now, my next project that I'll video is some more. I've got all these bud vases to start glazing. I've got to get that done. I'm going to repeat a lot of the ancient copper with the textured turquoise on the top, because that does look stunning. And I'm just in the throes of just finishing my website and getting that then with the Shopify account, so that will go onto Shopify, Etsy, Facebook and Instagram. So that does mean that you know, when you have some pieces to sell, you do have to do the ones that are the common ones that have been a tick by everybody. I mean, I've sold all of those straight away and done commissions on them. But I want to have a little play. Somebody suggested, after I did the Palladian on the water feature, to do Palladian over the white, over snow. And I saw some examples of that, and that had some lovely interesting reactions. I've actually got a really nice round piece here that I'm gonna do that. I think do it all snow and then do the Palladium around here and just see if I can make it react round to that point there. So yeah, watch this space, everybody. Thank you for joining me.